Christo Lamprecht is a South African amateur golfer and current amateur champion. Standing at 6 foot 8 inches, his golf swing is unique in its own right, but it is highly effective. Today, we will take a closer look at that one move everyone is talking about and why it has to happen for his swing to work. I will also compare an older video of his where that move does not exist and why I think this is the case. Get ready to get to know the unique swing of the great Christo Lamprecht. Alright, Lion Golf Academy members and guests, so Christo, day one leader at the British Open, should not come as a surprise. He's the 2022 British Amateur Champion, and let's take a look now. Forgive me, he doesn't have many videos of his swing. I had to take these from a couple of his collegiate clips, and there were highlight reels, so it didn't catch the first half of the swing. So we got him in the midway point of his backswing. Now he does something that is non-traditional, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. Now keep in mind, this man is 6 foot 8, and I did find a video, I'll show it a little bit later, of him younger, and we see that he doesn't have that motion, and that was maybe when he was a little bit shorter. So I think this motion that we see, and we're going to talk about why he does it, is a newer motion, most likely after he's reaching growth spurt. So let's take a look. Let's go left side. So I've drawn some lines that we can kind of look at. I know these are not the traditional face on down the line, they're a little bit skewed, but we're just going to look at the move that he makes and why he does it. Now what's interesting with him is that we don't have much of a deep turn at this point. It's mainly controlled by the hands and arms, his widths. Now he's a tall man, so he doesn't need to create a lot of width. 6 foot 8 wingspan, you don't need to create a lot of turn on the way back. You just basically move your arms back there, and you do have a pretty wide arc. But let's take a look as he gets to the top of the swing. His turn, we can see, he doesn't really get that far back as a lot of these long drive hitters. Now I know, again, this camera is a little bit off to the side, but if we just draw that line there, even if the camera was dead on in front of him, that might push close to 90 degrees, maybe short of 90 degrees. And we can see the top of his tee. It's nowhere near, but look at that width. So we have a lot of width, and that's his long, lanky arms. Top of the swing, you see that these arms are slightly lower than the upper plane line. He's still in his posture, looking pretty good, but this move that we see right now and what he does with his lower body and why he does it is very important. So let's take a couple frames on the left side. We see an immediate dip down. Right, so he is definitely going down. Like most of our athletes today, to jump up, you have to go down. So if we draw a line where his head was, we can see how much he actually dips down. Right side of the screen, look at that head box there. We can see again, he dips down. Now, the key thing is when he's dipping down, he is still staying in his posture. Some of us dip down and we start standing up with our upper body. So now all of a sudden, he is still in that plane. He's dropped it down accordingly. We draw a line straight from that club shaft down to the golf ball. He's pretty good there. Club face is slightly closed. We can see it there. So he can't release at this point. So he has to dip and get his shoulder tilt to drop down to the right to make sure that he holds that club face off. If he turns from this position, there's a rope hook. So to counteract that, here comes this motion. Watch that right knee and watch what happens to his tilt. So we're going to draw a new tilt line. Let's pick a different color here. Let's draw it in red. So we're going to draw a new tilt line. Let's just put it right through his spine. Okay, so you can still see it's that same angle. However, he's moved left of that angle with the shut club face. Now he's got to hold off that release. So watch what happens. We're going to take a couple frames. 1, 2. You guys see a little bit there? So when that right knee bends down, what does that do? It changes your knee tilt, right, to be a little bit under. So now that knee tilt gets a little bit lower, the right knee. But what does that do more importantly to the spine? You see how the spine dipped now? Now there goes that increased spine angle. Now he's doing that to try and hold off that club face. And what you'll notice is, let's delete this line and these two little lines down here for his knees and that new spine angle. Look at where his hands are. His hands are matching that spine angle. Club head is matching that as well. So that is the key thing, is how do we get that club head to be at that position just past impact where it's all lining up. So there's a reason why he won the amateur championship, and there's a reason why he is leading open to day one. Can he hold off? He definitely has the potential to do so. It comes down to experience. Now on the right side of the screen, we won't see much tilting change here just because the tilt comes from the face on, but you will definitely see he still stays in his spine angle, and he gets right against that back brace line, this big line back here. He's still staying against that brace line. Look at that room that he's created to clear himself by doing that. His arms can now extend nice and straight down to the golf ball, and with the right knee action, this allows that tilt to stay down, and we see that just holding off the release. So you can see just past impact, I mean, that club face is already shutting down, which is why he has to get the right shoulder down to help him with that. Now the release point, you can see he's still right in between his two plane lines, but again, he has longer arms. It's very hard to be upright when you're that tall. But now let's just take a look at his older swing. And I'm saying it's the older swing. It might be the same swing, but let's just take a look. You don't see much of that right knee action. Okay, so at least this one's a full swing. This is probably one of his few full swings. I know within the next week we're going to be bombarded with swings, so I might do another take on this in a week once we get better video. Okay, so on the right side of the screen, we can see now that a lot of this initial takeaway is a little bit upper body oriented, especially with the arms and hands. And again, being 6'8", not sure how old or tall he is in the right video. It looks a little bit of an older swing, but there's nothing wrong with this. As long as that club head, look at that, the club head is pretty close to that spine angle, and it almost makes the hands disappear. And again, this view is slightly off the toes, so if this was directly behind him, that club head would cover the hands. Once we get from midway points, he's still in the spine angle. We get to the top of the swing, gets to that upper plane line, a lot better. Slight little bit of standing up. Let's go again on that left side of the screen. We see coming on down, we see a lot of downward motion, and here we start to see that downward motion still there. Some issues with this, even though he's going down to the golf ball, he's starting to lose some posture. Now let's see if he escapes from that posture. We can see we're in a similar position here. So club is slightly laid off, and let's see how he recovers from this motion. Left side of the screen, again, we see that right knee kind of click down a couple frames there to help him with that upper body leaning back, because we're changing the knee tilt, which affects the spine tilt. Once we come on through here, we don't really see that right knee action. So I'm not sure if this is something that he is starting to work on lately that has changed, revolutionized his game. Sometimes it takes one little move to help you out. Maybe this is an older swing. Maybe this isn't even him. I just pulled this off the internet, but it looks like him. But we can see that now he's trying to get back in that spine angle on the left side, so he does it eventually. And then once we get down to impact, he is spot on again, comes on through, and that release point. So his hands definitely are a little bit higher than what we saw in the last video. So this is interesting to see, because we don't see that exaggerated right knee tilting down. And you can see the difference in this picture, where one, the lower body is a little bit more engaged. With the one on the left side, we have that increase of the knee tilt to help him stay in his spine angle and actually drop his shoulder tilt. And the one on the right, we don't see that accentuated knee tilt. So now, if I'm talking about longevities of swings, I think the longevity of a swing on the right side would definitely work longer, specifically as you get older. The one thing that's a little bit cautious here is you take a look at that knee. That does not look very safe. You know, being younger, you got the flexibility, your joints a little bit different, but you start getting up there in age, 10, 15 years, the swing might not survive that long. But it will be interesting to see how he finishes out the week. I hope he does so, and I hope he finishes strong. So let me know in the comments what you think, and I will follow up this video once we get some better quality images and videos from the British Open. But I hope this kind of opens your eyes to see how a swing can evolve. It might take a quick swing thought or a different motion, but everybody has their swing, just like I preach every week. There's no one way to swing a golf club. It is your way. Listen to Arnold Palmer. He had the magic voice. Hope that helps you. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this and how you think he's going to finish in the week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Fairways and greens.